Okay, cool. So Ari, would you like to start with the introduction?
Well, hi, I'm Ari. I'm at K-State, Kansas State University, in the, I guess, geographic center of the US. I'm a professor in biology, and I guess I have been studying fungi since early 1990s, so that's a long time. If I have to pick organisms that I specifically study, it's like all of them. So we are doing a broad microbiome research right now, and we're looking at fungal communities, bacterial communities that are associated with plants, soils, aquatic environments, animals. So I cannot really pick a specific target organism. I think that's a brief introduction for me, other than I'm the chair of the research award committee at the moment.
Thanks, Maj. Would you like to go next?
Hi, Kira. I'm Maj Padamsee. I'm a researcher in New Zealand at Manaki Whenua Land Care Research. I'm primarily, well, I came over here to work on rust fungi, and right now, myrtle rust, which is unfortunately devastating some of our ecosystems, it has kind of taken over my life. But in my previous life, I was, did all things with little brown mushrooms. So, but yes, all fungi, all good. And I'm the chair of the Student Awards Committee.
Thanks. Vincent, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Vincent Doyle. I'm at Louisiana State University in the Department of Plant Pathology and Crop Physiology with an adjunct appointment in Biological Sciences. Most of my research centers on population genetics and systematics of ascomycetes. But I've also done work with basidiomycetes, and we are getting into soil microbiome work just this year. So a wide range of fungal organisms.
Cool, thanks. Allison, would you go next?
Sure, thanks. Hi, everyone. Allison Walker. I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada at Acadia University, mostly undergraduate and master's degree granting institution. I study marine fungi and coastal fungi, largely ascomycetes, but also getting into arbuscular mycorrhizae and salt marshes, and generally getting into interesting tangents with my students and following where they lead me. I'm a former chair of the MSA Student Awards Committee, and now I'm the MSA Awards Coordinator. I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you very much. So we can just go ahead and start with the first question, which is, why is it important for students and postdocs to apply for these MSA awards that are available for us?
Maybe I can go first.
Sure.
So my take on this is that we all are building our CVs, particularly if you are a junior researcher. And one of the things that we oftentimes do get evaluated on is grants personship. So showing a track record of establishing and acquiring funds to support your research. So MSA is, although competitive, relatively friendly and relatively small competition as well. So it is a nice way to show your skills and show evidence of acquisition of those funds. So with that, I open the floor to others to add on or continue.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, Ari. I think that's, it's really, really important for students to apply for awards. This is actually one of the best pieces of advice that I got when I was doing my PhD, because I think I'd applied for like several awards and hadn't gotten any of them. And I was, went to one of my committee members and I'm like, I haven't got any awards. Why is it? Maybe I shouldn't. I should just stop doing this. And she just said, this is what you're there for. That you need to keep putting yourself out there. You need to keep trying to convince people about the importance of your research. And yeah, and I think that was such great advice. So, definitely, if you don't if you don't succeed the first time, just keep trying, and it's really, really important to do so.
And I would just add to that, to both what Ari and Maj said, this is practice for what you're going to be doing if you want to continue doing research, right? So it's a good opportunity with relatively low stakes, and they're not long proposals that you have to submit. And so it's just good opportunity to kind of get your feet wet, even if you don't get funding. Just going through the process is helpful, I think.
So on that note, thank you so much for that. I think I would add that it's not only academics or academicians who apply for research support all the time. I have friends who work in USDA Forest Service as rangers. And one of the things that they do also is work on acquiring support for specific projects that they want to start and see through. So no matter where your vision for your career is, it is important to build those grantsmanship skills.
I think this is great advice, and it's a really different style of writing from writing a scientific paper, because you're trying to persuade someone to fund your research. And so the earlier you can practice that, the better. And once you get one of the awards, it may take many tries, but it seems to attract more funding once you have some award or some amount of funding. As well, so it's like you're getting your foot in the door.
Cool. So thank you so much for that advice. It's very, I think that the first time that I went to MSA, like I heard about the awards, but talking to the students and hearing about committee members, kind of like explaining like why it's important, it definitely helped us understand that it's not only about getting the award, but it's also about the experience of writing. And as you said, get our foot and doing the writing. So for our second question, we have, for students who are just starting graduate school and have no previous awards or publications, will that hurt their chances of being awarded, even if they have a sound proposal?
So I don't think, I think that, the sound proposal is probably like the most important things that, for at least for some of the student awards that I manage, you have to be a candidate in order to be able to be eligible to apply for these awards. And so in those cases, like you wouldn't be able to start like as a first year student, but certainly the other awards that we do, which are the best presentation, the best oral presentation, or the best poster presentation, I think that it doesn't matter, and you should just definitely put your hat in the ring for those. But yeah, I think you got to start somewhere. So.
And I would say for the mentor student travel awards, the quality of the proposal is the first thing that we look at. And then after that, if we got, we try to make sure that there's a balance in terms of who the awards are going to. So, but even so, the quality of the proposal is the first thing I think that everybody pays attention to.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, one thing that we talked about is that once you write a lot of proposals, you have more skills in writing those. So although it is not true that we would discriminate against the starting students, those who have written a lot of proposals have a little bit more exercise in that. And I guess the way I would actually approach this is the way that we do proposal evaluations in the research awards is we basically rank all the proposals within each category. It doesn't matter where you come from or what your training level is. If the idea is exciting and it is feasible, you have equal opportunities as those who have been doing this for a longer time. So solid proposals, solid ideas, nice feasible research products, those are what we would support.
Okay, do we have any thoughts about it, or are we good to go to the next question? Okay, we can continue. Our third question is, what criteria does the MSA Awards Committee use to determine who receives an award? So I think that since we have different committees, that we have the travel awards, we have the research awards, maybe you can go a little bit more into detail about the specifics for each type of award that it's granted by MSA.
Who would like to go first?
You can go first, sorry.
So maybe if I start so I'm responsible for the research awards, and what we do in generally is looking at exciting research project. We have multiple different avenues, and they have very specific requirements. There's going to be a question later about, is there any ways to actually do something that doesn't involve field work or herbaria or focus on specific groups of organisms? And if you go to the MSA website, and specifically the award listing, that basically defines every single one of the available awards. And I see that Maria just put the link to the award chart in the chat. And you should very, very carefully go and look at what types of things do we support. Because these are defined by the founders of the foundation that supports that. So read carefully the call for the proposal, address specifically the issues that are present there. And then what our committee that has 5 members will do is we rank every single proposal within each category. And then based on the 5-member ranking, we arrive at consensus. And we poll everybody in the committee, whether we agree on the top ranked proposal or whether we need to further negotiate that. So I wonder if I actually addressed your question correctly, or whether I went onto a tangent, but as it's my bad habit, to actually go onto those tangents.
I think it definitely helped. Vincent, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of ranking proposals, it's a similar procedure. I mean, we have a panel who review all the mentor student travel awards, and then each person on the panel gets assigned certain number of applications, and then every application gets reviewed, or proposal gets reviewed by at least 2 members, and then we rank. The criteria, though, for the mentor student travel awards, I can only speak for those. That's the only committee I've served on. We have both major and minor criteria, and as I said before, the most important one is the quality of the work based on your research description and abstract. But then we're also looking at things like, of course, it's become a focus of MSA to improve diversity and gender balance in the awards. So that is something that we pay attention to in distributing the awards. We also looked at, we take into consideration past awards. So if you're someone who has had, the last 3 years in a row, a mentor student travel award, we try to spread out the giving. Let's see. And then, other minor things, which oftentimes don't really come into play unless we have a lot of proposals that are kind of ranked the same. And then we have to figure out, well, we have only so many dollars to distribute, so many awards we can get. And in most years, we have more applications than we do awards that can be given. So we start looking at other things, like, well, here's someone who maybe he's never been able to come to an MSA, or they're coming from very far away. So this is really going to make the difference between whether they can come or not. So there's those other things that we have to take into consideration when we have a lot of proposals that rank at the same level.
Yeah, and I think it's similar for the student awards committee as well. Is just that we have a panel of members who rank the proposals, but I think in general, because the number of awards that we have to do is not as many as a travel award, so all of the committee members look at all of the proposals and then they rank them. The one thing that I think that is important to keep in mind is, again, just making sure that you address, have a statement for about diversity and gender, and because that is something that, while it's not ranked, can help us when in terms of ties and to be able to break ties to try and figure out who the ultimate award is going to go to. So that's something to keep in mind. But it's similar. So it's the proposal is the number one thing that we look at, and then the CV, and then the your recommendation from your professor. Please don't leave that until the last minute to ask them, because they usually get asked by multiple people. So it's better to give them a fair amount of time or heads up to let them know that you're actually applying for this award. So because that is very important. So.
Yes, very good points. Thank you. Give people who actually recommend you adequate time to actually do that properly. And one thing that I overlooked to say, we also do follow those diversity and equitability guidelines. So like Maj said, that's one of the things that we do pay attention on.
Allison, would you like to share something?
Yeah, no, this all sounds wonderful. I just wanted to add that that's something that shines through again and again is the quality of the proposal. And one thing that the judges often seem to agree on is when you can feel that enthusiasm coming through the writing, and when the student has written it in a very clear way, because you're getting judges that have really diverse training in mycology. It could be very different, maybe your background's in ecology or cell biology. So if it's a compelling story and feasible and clearly written, that always rises to the top, and it seems to catch the judge's attention.
Thank you very much. I think that question 3 and 4 have some similarities, but from all of the different things that you've mentioned so far, what specific suggestions do you have for students and postdocs who are interested in applying for these MSA awards? And then what do you look on a winning proposal?
I'll just start 2 things. One, which is for all proposals, is read carefully what the request for proposals says and make sure that you check that 3 times before you submit your proposal and have a checklist of everything that you need to submit. But the other thing that is always helpful and I still do this in writing grant proposals, is if I know somebody who has successfully gotten an award from a particular program, reach out to them and talk to them about their proposal, or maybe they'll share it with you, or you can get some tips from people who have recently won awards. And then also, there's the list of past awardees. I don't know how much of information is actually available about past awardees, but reaching out to people or just looking at the kinds of things that have won awards in the past is helpful.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely really important, and I think just to add to that, one of the things that, you know, and also to add to what Allison had mentioned before, is that make sure that the question that you're trying to address in your proposal is really is stated clearly, is because sometimes you know, you get carried away because you're describing the system and the details and like all of this other stuff, but doesn't actually come across about what exactly you want to be, you know, what you're interested in studying. And so that's something to just to make sure that you do, you know, make that front and center of, like, you know, why is this important for you specifically to get this award, and, you know, why are you best placed to be able to address the question that you're interested in looking at. I think that's something that I certainly look at as well. But yeah, reach out to your peers, and, like, you know, like if you have colleagues who you can share your proposal with, you know, get them to read it and see whether it comes across as well.
Yeah, I do agree on all of that. One thing that I would add is that make sure that your proposal is complete. Yes, great ideas are great, but if you present them poorly, that tends to take off all the reviewers, and your chances of rising to the top are lesser, even if you have a fantastic idea. So make sure that you proofread and maybe get a peer to actually read through your proposal and say, these are things that do not make sense to me. Because if somebody reads it and they tell you that that is poorly conceived in your proposal, it is for sure different for others to decipher that information as well. So great ideas and well-executed delivery are the combinations that really make your proposal to rise to the top.
I don't have anything further to add.
Okay. So our fifth question is, what should be avoided when we're submitting proposals for awards? Maj, would you like to start?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I was like, I think, you know, just going from what Ari had just mentioned, is just making sure that yeah, make sure that you have everything, that you have all of the requirements for your application. So, like, you know, don't if you have to have your CV and you forget that, or, you know, because we've definitely gotten proposals in which we've gotten only like one of the items that's requested, and then you have to kind of chase the people, and yeah, it's so just make sure that you have everything there. And also, one of the things that to address is that you, for most of these awards, you do have to be an MSA member, so make sure that your membership is current, so that we don't have to chase it again. Yeah, because you don't want to, like, you know, get to that point of being awarded and then find out that, oh wait, actually you're not qualified because you're not an MSA member. So yes.
I don't have anything to add to that. I'm trying to think, but
yeah, I guess the only thing that I would reiterate is make sure that you have made a complete proposal, pretty much like Maj was saying. Also, make sure that you have somebody else take a look at it, so you avoid kind of silly mistakes. Because, you know, 4 eyes way better than 1, says the blind person.
And I think one thing, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Allison.
I was gonna say one thing to be careful of is there can be a temptation to pull in a lot of background information, maybe from your supervisor's grant, and it can be very obvious that that has come from something geared towards a different funding agency. So make sure that you write it as your own application to the MSA. So I've seen some of that before. So I don't know if anyone else turned into that, but just making sure that it's tailored, as you say, to the requirements of the award that you're going for.
Definitely. I was just going to add is that so for a lot of these, a lot of the student awards, anyways, that you can apply for more than one at the time. And so if you are actually going to be applying, say for the NAMA award and the graduate fellowship, just make sure that you address it in your cover letter so that we actually know, because it's sometimes, you do have to submit it separately, but yeah, it just gets confusing for the committee. So just, if you are applying for more than one, just say so in your cover letter, so that way we know.
Cool. Thank you very much. So our following question is, how are travel awards different from research awards and other in-conference awards? Vincent, would you like to start?
Well, I mean, the student mentor travel awards are meant to help you get to the meeting. I think that's the short of it. And the research awards are there to, I believe, to support, particular research projects. So for the mentor student travel awards, it's less of a proposal than it is a report on what you're doing, an abstract. So yeah.
Hey, Winston, I have a question for you on that front. Do you have to indicate a need for the award to support your participation?
You, I don't, Maj, maybe you can jump in because you've also served on it, but I don't recall that we have. I mean, it's something that you want to include in your letter, sort of, how this award will impact you. But I don't think we, require that you demonstrate that there's a need, because, there are PIs that have great funding and have gotten students, have had students in their lab who've gotten travel awards. So, it's not entirely need based, but it is something that we certainly take into consideration.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm trying to remember, but certainly I think, like, especially if your PI doesn't have a different way to support you, if there aren't any university travel awards that you can apply to, like, this is the only way that you can get to the meeting, that's certainly that, make that clear for the travel awards.
Yeah,
I have a feeling, did we have to I think you have to put a budget in as well, but I'm sorry.
For the travel awards, I don't know, but that does bring up the point that, not everybody mentions their need in their proposal or in their application. But if you feel like you're in a circumstance where I'm not going to be able to go to this meeting if I don't get this award, that is something that, you should convey in some way, because that is important to us.
And then I don't know if you have some other answers to how or at least how the in-conference, like the poster awards and the talk awards, are a little bit different from what research awards are, or that that MSA gives.
I think, like, the biggest difference in terms of the in-conference poster and presentation awards is that that's open to everyone. So it's just dependent upon your presentation and your poster. And again, there's absolutely no downside to entering for a student. I mean, for the committee, it's like less people to have to award, the maybe not the easier, but definitely as a student, go, definitely enter those competitions, because when you get you get people who actually will, will come to your talk and give you feedback about it, if you want. And I think that it's just a great way to kind of show your research and share your research with people. So yeah, I mean, so the in-person awards are open to everyone. The other awards are kind of, they have stricter criteria. So you have to be a candidate, or you have to be an undergraduate, or something like that. So but yeah, apply. It's good.
Cool. So just to help clarify a little bit, during the in-person awards, or the ones that are given like because of the posters and talks, are you automatically eligible for them if you're giving a talk or a poster, or should we as students and postdocs, like during our registration, like check in a box? Okay, so it's that
Yeah.
we have to check in a box.
You
Okay.
have to check it. Yeah, you have to specify, otherwise you won't be entered into the pool of.
Sounds good. Thank you. And then the other question that we had is, are all awards available every year, or does it change?
So for the Mentor Student Travel Awards, I mean, those are always available as far as I'm aware, but the number of awards can fluctuate.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Maj.
Oh no, I was going to say, I was like, just for the student awards is yeah, they're available every year.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the research awards, and the translational mycology awards are not available this year. There's another award available that Allison just informed us that is currently available, and that's a climate change thing. So the best thing to do is to go into the MSA website and look at what is being offered this year, because things do change, because some of these awards are well, gift is not really a correct word, but they are donations from supporters, and it is depending on their financial availability and funds that they have that they can make available for our awards. So check there and see what is currently available. That is by far the best way to go and see what is available, who can qualify. So go to the MSA website and check the awards there.
Okay, and since Eric talked a little bit about the climate change award, Allison, would you like to talk a little bit more about this award, since it's basically brand new? So would you talk a little bit about it and tell us?
Definitely, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about that. And so this is a brand new award that's intended to be offered every year. It's a $10,000 award, and it's available to any MSA member studying at a US-based institution. So it could be undergraduate or graduate student or postdoc, and very broad, just has to be involving fungi and climate change. So it's very open to new and novel ways to study fungi that maybe have never been looked at before. And again, this is, as I mentioned, coming from a benefactor who wishes to remain anonymous and is very passionate about this topic and about this being an annual award. So it's a wonderful thing for the society and very exciting. And I know, getting back just to the previous question, there's a Forest Fungal Ecology Award, and I think sometimes there are different numbers of those that are available each year. And same with perhaps the poster and talk awards based on how many presenters there are at that meeting that year. So there's a bit of flexibility in the number of a few of the awards to get in each year. But if anyone has questions about the new award, feel free to email me about that or any of the awards. Or check the website frequently also.
Awesome. So I think that at least we have run out of the questions that we had on the Google Doc. So if any of the attendees have a question, feel free to type it out or unmute yourself and ask the question. In the meantime, I actually have one question about travel awards. So in 2020, I think I got a travel award to go to MSA, but then COVID happened. I technically haven't used the travel award. Can it be used this year or whenever MSA happens in person?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
But that's what I gathered from, there was one phrase, and I don't know if it was the posting for the call for the award or in an email from MSA or something, but that was my understanding. Does anybody else know for sure?
I would agree with your reading on the on the phrasing there,
Okay.
but I think that's in the whims of those who distribute the funds.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. I don't know if anybody else has a question that they are typing out, but I will just make another one because I know that it's silly because I have applied for MSA awards, but some people might not know if international students who are based in US institutions can apply to MSA awards. So that's the other question that I have. I kind of know the answer, but maybe not everyone knows it. So
Yes.
Yes.
You have to be MSA member
Yes.
for most of these awards,
okay.
and it doesn't matter where you come from.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Maria, I would add one point here, is that these awards exist because they are mandated to distribute funds. So every year, these funds are to be distributed unless there's no qualified applicants. So it does pay off to actually put in a proposal to request for funds. Because it is the job of these, many of these are foundational funds, and they need to be distributing some funds every year. So please do apply. And that was one of the things that was one of those striking things to me when I was actually starting to apply for a research funding. There are institutions and individuals who have to actually give money. And that is our job as well.
Hey, so I have a question too. So this is in regards to once you become a PhD candidate, there are these 3 awards that are available, which I shall repeat now, being the MSA Graduate Fellowship, the NAMA Memorial Fellowship, and the Backus Awards. So I've gotten these questions before, and I know that when I applied to all 3. So is that like the general, is that like what you should do, or is it put into one pool and they still pick, or like what is the general advice you give for those 3 awards?
So sort of, but not quite. Yes. So I mean, you are sort of put into the same pool if you are applying for all 3, but we do consider each of the grants separately, and then also the awarded, so like for the NAMA fellowship, that's, it's more geared towards somebody who's doing more field mycology, and especially because you are supposed to write an article for Macrolania, and so so if your proposal is more suited to that, then you would be higher up, I think, on those rankings than for some of the other ones. But yeah, I mean, you are put into pool, but we do rank for each award separately.
Yeah, I would chime on that as well, because we have had individuals apply for, or one individual apply for multiple different awards. And we do rank everything separately. And should you be the top candidate for every single one that you you applied for, which does happen sometime, we do try to follow the diversity guidelines and distribute the funds broadly. So it may be a situation where we look at that your proposal is the best fitted for this award, so we grant you that, and then the other applications we award to someone else, or the other awards go to someone else.
See, there's a question in the
And
chat.
chat, yeah.
Maria, you want to? Maria?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for posting the question, Giovanni. So Giovanni asked, if I'm planning on conducting research in the US, in a US institution this year, he's wondering what are the chances of being funded for research on fossil fungi?
Maybe I should take that. And my best answer to that is, if your proposal is the most exciting for whichever pool you submit your proposal, your chances are great. But it is always the most exciting and best proposals that universally end up getting support for every single committee members. So it all depends on the request and on your proposal, and how nice a case you make for the importance of that research.
Okay.
Is that almost an answer to the question?
Let us know, Giovanni, on the chat. And in the meantime, I don't know if anyone has another question, or if the panelists have final thoughts about the awards, about what we've discussed, that they would like to share.
Yeah, I mean, I can go. I mean, I think, just again, just to reiterate what everybody has been saying is that, there really is no downside to applying for one of these awards. Don't think that, oh my God, I'm just starting out, like I have no idea what I'm doing, I really shouldn't be applying. It's practice, just starting to get your story together, and convincing people that, why what you're doing is the best thing to be doing. And like all of us as on the committee, I love serving on these committees, because it's such a pleasure to read students' proposals, just to see what exciting stuff you guys are doing. I always, every time I read these proposals, I think, I'm like, wow, like I'm very glad I'm not a student now, because I wouldn't want to have to compete with all of these great people. But so just just to keep applying, it's a good thing.
We have a question in chat. So since Maj just tagged on the question for you, so I'll just ask the question. So you mentioned noting the grant, we're applying for it in a cover letter, but in the documents on the website, Becca doesn't see where that should be included. I see that we submit our grants via Google form, and we can signify which award we're applying to there. Should I mention it elsewhere in the application text?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not required, but you can certainly put in a cover letter. And I think it's a good thing to do. Allison, you probably might know better, just but I think you can just put it in with your application.
Yes, that's right. And I agree, it is good to specify which awards you're applying for.
Yep.
Also, I think it is very helpful to say that you are applying for multiple awards. Like I think Maj was making the point earlier, that it's confusing to see the same applicant and maybe even the same proposal for multiple awards. And the best proposals I have seen include a single PDF with a cover letter and the documentation and budget in one single document. Those are the easiest, so you don't have to go and pick through multiple separate documents. Because there has been years when we have 50+ proposals, And little nuisances like multiple documents for each proposal really can be things that set you on not the best mood to actually start reading your proposal.
Awesome. Thank you very much for those final suggestions that I think that we'll find very, very valuable.
Hey, Maria, there's another question.
Another one, let me see. I don't see another question.
As
I
for
don't-
the undergraduate research award, it says on the
Oh,
application,
yeah.
that MSA membership is not
It just said
required.
Ari, and I thought that it was you, Ari. I didn't saw the last name.
What can I say? I have multiple personalities.
So it says for the undergrad research award, it says on the application that an MSA membership is not required but encouraged. Would students with an MSA membership have an advantage over those who do not?
No, I mean, I think just it's not required. I think we encourage the student after, if they aren't members, to then apply for it. Just as also again then just to be a member. But yeah, it's not. It wouldn't give you an advantage. For the undergraduate award, it's mainly dependent upon your proposal and your recommendation. Any transcript, I think that's the other thing that you put in.
Cool. Awesome. So I don't think that there are any more questions.
Hey,
Thank you.
Maria,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Giovanni has something additional in the chat.
No, I think you just said thank you.
Yeah, I think that he missed a little bit the last. So when you were answering the question about the fossil fungi, I think that just missed a little bit the last part. So I don't know if you would like to just like quickly go over it or just kind of like reiterate that it's about the quality of about the grant.
As long as it meets the criteria for the specific award.
Mhm.
Everything is a game as far as I understand, and then it's ranked by the committee members. But really, it is the best proposals that we'd like to support.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think that we are great in time. And I think that it was super useful, a lot of resources and tips that hopefully would not only help, us that were able to make it today, but hopefully, students and postdocs in the future will be able to see this recording and find it useful. So thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciated that you agreed to join us and participate on the panel. And hopefully we'll be able to see you around on a future MSA, or if it's virtual, it's fine, but hopefully in person. So yeah, thank you very much and have a wonderful weekend for Maj, and then Friday, Thursday for the rest of us here in the States.
Thank you for organizing
Maria.
the panel.
Thank
Yeah,
you for organizing
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm looking forward to next in-person meeting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Take care,
See you.
everybody.